Welcome back, Algebra. We are finishing up Unit 10 today. We are on the Unit 10 Day 16 test review. So we did skip some of the note sheets in the packet, but that's okay. We're going to just kind of go straight here because you have your test coming up in a couple days. So I wanted to review everything that we've done in this unit. Test is coming up in a couple days and it's on Delta Math. As long as you do all of the problems that are required, you should get an easy 100% as your test score. So let's make sure you know what you're doing. All right, one of the things that we did at the very beginning of this unit when we were actually still in school and not doing this e-learning stuff was we learned how to add and subtract our polynomials together. All right, so something like this. We have x squared minus 10x plus 3 minus this guy, 4x squared minus 3x plus 2. If you are subtracting the polynomials, what you want to do is you want to make this addition and turn these into their opposites. So this will be a negative 4x squared. Instead of a minus 3x, it'll be a plus. Instead of a plus 2, it'll be a minus 2. From here, you want to combine like terms. So we want to combine any x squareds with x squareds, x cubes with x cubes, etc. So we've got 1x squared plus a negative 4x squared. When you do this, you combine the coefficients, so 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3, and the exponents don't change, so it's just going to be a negative 3x squared. Then you're going to go to the next term, negative 10x and 3x. Those can be combined because they both have an x to the first. Negative 10 plus positive 3. You can add those together, you get negative 7, and again, the exponent doesn't change. The last one is this plus 3 and a negative 2. 3 plus negative 2 is going to be a positive 1, so plus 1. All right, so that's how you add and subtract. You want to combine like terms, don't change the exponents. All right, if you see something like number 2, this is 2x squared minus 10 quantity squared. This means, don't square both of those by the way, this means you're going to do 2x minus 10 times 2x minus 10. All right, we did this a while ago. You can either do distributing, or you can create this lovely little box where you have 2x minus 10 along the one side and 2x minus 10 or negative 10 on this side. Then you're going to multiply. So you've got 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. Remember, when you're multiplying, it's a little different than adding and subtracting. You multiply the coefficients, and then with the exponents, you're going to add them. So x to the first times x to the first becomes x to the second. Negative 2x times negative 10 is negative 20x. Negative 10 times 2x is negative 20x. And negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. Or you could have done it this way, 2x times 2x, you'd still be doing the same thing. You're going to want to combine like terms. This is adding and subtracting, so you can only combine those that have the exact same letter with the exact same exponent. So the only ones you can combine are the negative 20x's. I'm going to write in descending order, so I'm going to start with 4x squared. Negative 20x and a negative 20x is a negative 40x. Again, the exponents don't change when you're adding or subtracting. And then plus 100. All right, and that's going to be your answer. Number 3 is the same idea, except it's a little bit longer because there's 3 terms here instead of 2. But again, you can solve it by distributing, or you can create this lovely little box. All right, this time it's going to need to be a 2 by 3, 2 terms on one side, and then the 3 terms going along the other side. And then we multiply. X times 2x squared is 2x cubed. X times 4x is 4x squared. Again, when you multiply, you add the exponents. X to the first, x to the second becomes x to the third. X to the first, x to the first becomes x to the second. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 7 times 2x squared is negative 14x squared. Negative 7 times 4x is negative 28x. And negative 7 times negative 3 is positive 21. From here, you want to combine like terms, so look for the letters that have the exact same exponents. And it's going to be these ones that I circled. So I'm going to start off with the highest one, 2x cubed. Negative 14x squared and positive 4x squared, you add the coefficients, you get negative 10, and the exponents don't change, so it's still x squared. Negative 3x and negative 28x, add the coefficients, you get negative 31, and the exponents don't change, negative 31x, and then a positive 21. All right, notice you cannot combine anything else because they all have different exponents. So you're done with that problem. Okay, so then let's go to factoring. So part of your test will be on all of this, adding, subtracting, multiplying. Then you've got factoring. Okay, you don't have to worry about stuff like 4. So like for number 5, you should be able to look at this and know how to factor it. Remember, you want to look for a GCF if possible. Then what you want to do is a box problem. And that's it. It says to factor. There's no equal sign. There's no solve. You don't need to say x equals. So from here, if you look at the numbers in front, the coefficients 1, negative 10, and 16, the only thing they can all be divided by is 1. So that's not going to really have much of a GCF number-wise. And they don't have a GCF letter-wise either because they don't all have an x. So step 1 isn't going to be necessary for this one. Box problem. That we can do. It's got to multiply to be 16. And add to be negative 10. Because it has to multiply to be positive but add to be negative, you're going to have to think of numbers that multiply to be 16 that are negative. So like negative 8 and negative 2, negative 4 and negative 4. Negative 8 and negative 2 are what's going to add to be negative 10. Once you have those, you write 2 sets of parentheses. X goes in the front of both. It's a negative 8, so minus 8. Negative 2 is a minus 2. And that's it. Stop there. Don't solve. Let's see. If you look at number 6, all right, number 6, you have 6x squared plus 30x minus 216. These are going to have a GCF. They don't all have an x, but they do have a GCF of 6. They can all be divided by 6. So 6 is our GCF. I'm going to divide each term by 6. So 6x squared divided by 6 is x squared. 30x divided by 6 is 5x. And then 216 divided by 6 is going to be 36. Now we can do a box problem. It's got to multiply to be negative 36 and add to be 5. So you got to fiddle around with the numbers that are going to work, but it's going to be 9 and negative 4. So 9 times negative 4 gives you negative 36. 9 plus negative 4 gives you 5. From here, you're going to put your x's in the front of both. Positive 9 means plus 9 here. Negative 4 means minus 4 here. And then again, you stop. We're not going to do any more solving. All right, let's look at number 7, and then we'll do a couple solving, and then that's pretty much it. For number 7, all right, for this one, you're going to be looking for GCF. The only number that goes into 124 and 144 is 1, so there's no number GCF, and they don't all have an x in common. So we don't have to worry about step 1. Step 2 is a box problem. It's got to multiply to be 144 and add to be negative 24. Again, because it's got to multiply to be positive but add to be negative, you got to think of negative numbers. The two numbers are going to be negative 12 and negative 12. Those multiply to be positive 144, and they add to be negative 24. X is going to go in the front of both parentheses. Since it's a minus 12, you're going to put a minus 12 in both. Or you could say x minus 12 quantity squared. Either one is fine. Number 9, I changed my mind. I want to do this one real quick because it is a little bit different. GCF, okay, they both are divisible by 5. They don't all have an x in common, but they are divisible by 5. So 5 is going to be our GCF. 5x squared divided by 5 is just x squared. 80 divided by 5 is going to be 16. Now this one, notice there's no x to the first. So if you want to, you can think of this as x squared plus 0x minus 16. And now we can do our box problem. So if there's no x to the first, you can always put a plus 0x. What multiplies to be negative 16 and adds to be 0 will be 4 and negative 4. We'll put the GCF out in front. 2 sets of parentheses. X goes in the beginning of both. Positive 4 is plus 4, minus 4 for the negative 4. And then you stop. Okay? That's known as the difference of two squares, which you'll learn more about in Algebra 2. Okay, for the rest of these guys, you'll notice the directions say solve. Okay, so solving is going to be a little bit more work. What you're going to need to do is you want to make it equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, move stuff around. Then you're going to do the same steps that we just did with the problems above. You're going to do a GCF if possible. Then you get to do your box problem. And then your final step will be to set it equal to 0 and solve. ZPP, zero product property, and solve. So something like number 10, you'll notice it's already factored. Makes it nice and easy. Just go straight to the last step where it's setting equal to 0 and solve. So you can set x equal to 0. You can set x minus 2 equal to 0. And you can set x plus 4 equal to 0. That one's nice and easy. Don't have to worry too much about too many steps. And when you solve for x, you're going to get -4, 2, and 0. Nice and easy. 11's a little more work. It's got to make it equal to 0. It's equal to 5x right now, so we're going to minus 5x on both sides. Put it in descending order on the left, so you'll have x squared, then the minus 5x, and then the minus 24 equals 0. As far as a GCF goes, they don't have an x in common, and 1 is the only thing that they all can be divided by. So step 2, not really needed. Step 3, box problem. It's got to multiply to be -24 and add to be -5. Those numbers are going to be -8 and 3. So we're going to need two sets of parentheses. X goes at the front of both. -8 means -8. +3 means +3. You're going to set both sets of things equal to 0. All right, and you're going to add 8 to both sides. You get x equals 8. And then -3 on both sides. X equals -3. So you just do your box problem, set it equal to 0, and you're all set. All right, the last one we're going to do is number 12. For number 12, you'll notice it's not equal to 0. It's equal to -42. So we're going to move that over to the other side, put it in descending order, so it's going to go at the very end. All right, so plus 42 goes on to the end, set equal to 0. And now we can do our GCF. They don't all have an x in common, but if you notice, we do have a 3. They're all divisible by 3. So 3 is going to be our GCF. As far as what goes inside the parentheses with it, we're going to divide each of those by 3. 3x squared divided by 3 is just x squared. 27x divided by 3 is 9x. 42 divided by 3 is 14. And now from here, we can do our box problem. It's got to multiply to be 14 and add to be 9. Those two numbers are 7 and 2. So you're going to write down two sets of parentheses. The 3 is still out in front. It's a +7, so x plus 7. +2, so x plus 2. And now we're going to set things equal to 0. We can't set 3 equal to 0. That doesn't work. If there was a variable with it, great, but we can't. But we can set x plus 7 equal to 0. And we can set x plus 2 equal to 0. -7, you get x equals -7. -2, you get x equals -2. And that's solving by factoring. All right, so good luck studying for your test.